Hi, it's time for another story. The one I picked out today is called Winnie, the true story of the bear who inspired Winnie-the-Pooh, by Sally M. Walker, illustrated by Jonathan D. Voss. This is a true story, so here are some of the actual pictures of who the story is about. When Harry Colburn looked out of the train window, he couldn't believe his eyes. A bear at the station? The train stop would be short, but Harry had to get off and see the bear for himself. Harry hurried onto the platform and sat nearby. "What are you doing here, little bear?" The cub climbed into Harry's lap and licked his chin. "She's for sale," said the man holding her leash. "I didn't see her until after I'd shot her mother. I don't want her. I can't care for a bear." Harry could care for a bear. He was a veterinarian. "How much?" Harry asked. $20. The train whistle blew and Harry decided. He paid the man, picked up the cub, and carried her onto the train. Harry's friends asked a million questions, but the captain asked the loudest, "Harry, what in the world were you thinking?" "That I had to save her." The cub rubbed her back against the captain's leg. The captain patted her head. "I'll care for her, sir," Harry said. "I'll feed her condensed milk. She can stay with me in the camp. Winnipeg can be our mascot." "You've already named her?" asked the captain. "Yes, sir, after our company's hometown." "Well, Winnipeg," the captain said, "welcome to the army." By the time they reached the military training camp at Valcartier in Quebec, Winnipeg had been shortened to Winnie. Harry's job was caring for horses that would be needed for battle. Winnie's job was being Harry's shadow. While Harry listened to a horse's heart, Winnie nuzzled its muzzle. If the horse snorted and scared Winnie, Harry cuddled her until she stopped trembling. Winnie's favorite game was hide-and-seek biscuits. Using her long claws, she pulled the hidden biscuits from Harry's pockets. "Good girl," Harry praised her when she succeeded. Sometimes Harry went places where Winnie couldn't. Then other soldiers cub-sat. They photographed Winnie, they took her for walks, but no matter where Winnie went during the day, she slept under Harry's cot every night. One morning, while Harry tied his bootlaces, Winnie grabbed the tent pole. The tent walls shook. "Winnie, no!" Harry shouted. After that, Harry let Winnie climb small trees, but he always held her leash so she wouldn't climb too high. A month passed. The captain received some bad news. The war across the Atlantic Ocean is getting worse. More soldiers and horses are needed. We must leave Canada and go to England. The ships will be leaving in a few days. Harry couldn't leave Winnie. "Sir, she must come with us." The other soldiers agreed. When the horses and soldiers boarded the SS Manitou, so did Winnie. Winnie was a good sailor. Harry wasn't. He lay seasick in the ship's hospital. While he was sick, Winnie played with the other soldiers, but she ran straight to Harry as soon as she was better. In England, Harry, Winnie, and the horses traveled to a new military camp. For 7 weeks, Winnie watched soldiers practice marching. She heard gunshots when they practiced shooting. Still, every night she slept under Harry's cot. One day the captain said, "The war is even worse. We must go to France and care for the horses that get wounded." On a battlefield, Winnie could get hurt, even killed. Harry didn't want to leave Winnie, but he couldn't take her to France. He thought long and hard, and finally Harry contacted the London Zoo. Winnie, the zoo has a brand new place called Mapen Terraces, which is built just for bears. Zookeepers know exactly how to care for a bear. There they are marching. The ride to the zoo was long. Winnie sat on Harry's lap. She wiggled on the seat. She scratched at the door. Harry was relieved when he and Winnie got out at the zoo. A zookeeper escorted Harry and Winnie to the Mapen Terraces. Harry removed Winnie's collar and leash. She climbed over a rock. She sniffed 2 brown cubs. She lapped condensed milk when the zookeeper offered it. Harry was satisfied. Winnie, I'll visit whenever I can. When the war ends, we'll go home to Winnipeg. Harry hugged Winnie goodbye. Winnie and the brown cubs became fast friends, but the big Himalayan bear she approached wasn't so friendly. He swatted at Winnie. Winnie ran as far away as she could. The zookeepers were worried, but even the grumpy Himalayan bear couldn't resist Winnie. Within a few days, they were playing tug-of-war with a stick. We've never met a bear as gentle as Winnie, the zookeeper said. They trusted her so much that sometimes they let children ride on her back. Would you like to ride on the back of a bear? Harry visited Winnie whenever he could, but the war lasted 4 years. During that time, the zookeepers took good care of his bear. Winnie had many friends. In 1919, just before Harry returned to Winnipeg, he made another hard decision. He decided that Winnie would stay at the London Zoo permanently. Harry was sad, but he knew Winnie would be the happiest in the home that she knew best. One day, when Winnie was nearly 11 years old, a little boy visited her. "Oh, bear," cried the boy, whose name was Christopher Robin. He hugged Winnie and fed her milk. The boy's father, a well-known author, watched his son laugh and play with the bear. All the way home, Christopher Robin talked about Winnie. I almost forgot. There's Christopher Robin and Winnie. At bedtime, Christopher Robin and his teddy snuggled under the covers. "Would you and Edward Bear like to hear a story?" asked the boy's father. "Yes," said Christopher Robin, "but Edward has changed his name to Winnie-the-Pooh." "Once upon a time," said his father, "a bear named Winnie-the-Pooh lived in a forest." More stories followed until one day they grew into a book. There's Edward, now called Winnie-the-Pooh, and there's Christopher and Winnie. After that, the real Winnie became even more famous. Although more people came to see her, Winnie's everyday life remained normal. The zookeepers treated her kindly, friendly visitors scratched her back, and gentle children spoon-fed her milk. For Winnie, this was the best way to care for a bear. Now, I told you this was a true story, and there is a statue that they put at the London Zoo to remind everyone and remember Winnie-the-Pooh and her owner, Harry Colburn. So he had lived in England and then moved to Canada when he was a little boy, and he became a veterinarian and joined the army. And he really did buy Winnie at the White River train station in Ontario when she was 6 or 7 months old. Winnie lived till she was 20 years old and died May 12, 1934. And the boy and his dad, well, that was, you might have heard of the books, Winnie-the-Pooh by A.A. Milne. They were published in 1926, and then another followed, The House at Pooh Corner. So Christopher Robin, according to Milne, gave the name Pooh to a swan he once knew. And then the swan flew off and made it home elsewhere. The name remained behind unused. Therefore, it was available to combine with Winnie when Christopher Robin needed it. I hope you enjoyed this book, and I hope you'll check out this book if you go to the library. It's at our library in Martinsburg, and maybe you've read some of the Winnie-the-Pooh books. Thanks for listening. See you later.